Hello YouTube, welcome to my Fun or Nothing channel. This is where a lot of fun or nothing goes down. I get really excited when I hear all the feedback from my videos. I just want to have some fun and share the love and talk about some life experiences. And today I'm feeling really talkative, so I wanted to start off by channeling a little bit here, connecting. And I had written a poem so many months ago, and I forgot it existed, and I found it in my notebook today. So I was like, maybe I'll just start off reading my poem that I wrote. And it's, I'm a big believer in source energy. I don't mind the word God. I love God, but the way I view God is one source of energy that's flowing through all of us. And so we are all interconnected through this one energetic source. And then we get to have these individual bodies, and we get to play around on earth with and dabble in the pain and things of that nature. You hear me talk about this all the time. And so the poem is about source. And to me, source, when you wake up in the morning, we're supposed to clock in to source and then go live our day by loving on others through the power of that connection. So connecting to God, I know a lot of people say get on your knees and pray in the morning. So it's a similar concept or same concept, but just different words. And so I'm calling this the name of this poem is The Best Part of Your Day. It's the best part of my day. I'm not always the perfect at the plan, but I'm always trying, and I'm surrounding myself with people who like to remind me to clock in and connect with source before I lead my day. And so this is a practice right now. I want to use this poem and read it to you guys to maybe pull the energy together and connect together. And then after that, I want to talk about insecurities. I have had some major insecurities in my life that I have conquered. I still have a few insecurities here and there, but I wanted to talk about a few specific insecurities and then how I got over them, and then add a little fun to the stories on top of that. So here's my poem. It's called The Best Part of Your Day. I smile so big my cheeks hurt. I wake up excited, ready to flirt. I get to wake up. I get to live one more day. First thought in my brain is, thank you, Source, time to slay. I am the creator, my hands are your hands. Flow through me daily because I know you've got plans. I feel your love, I feel your flow. I feel my heart reminding me to take it slow. Unwavering faith, I know what to do. It's the easiest task, just be one with you. My beautiful heart, I remember why we're here. These waves of emotion are nothing to fear. I love the pain that is offered when I'm falling astray. I love the joy that surrounds me when I'm called back your way. You can call me home with the promise that you've made. You stay true, so on this earth I get to play. You remind me I am the only one. You remind me I'm only here to have fun. My eyes cry when I think about your love. My heart flutters when you speak to me from above. You're everything and everywhere. I know the truth. You have one care. Expansion, growth, to see yourself. You need my eyes. You need my help. I'm here for you, Source. I'm here to play. I'm here to create in the wildest way. I'm making the rules by knowing you exist. I command abundance. I'm making my list. It's never too much, and it's never to be done. Thank you for this life. I'm having so much fun. I can't believe I wrote that. I'm very proud of myself. Yay! Do you guys write poems? Have you ever written a poem? I remember writing poems when I was younger, and I had a little book of poems, and I remember thinking how good I was at it, and I thought I was a pimp daddy master poem writer, and I'd lost that. I totally forgot that existed as a childhood fun activity. And then I've written a couple poems. I used to write poems to my ex because I thought it was super easy. It was, romanticizing and things, but that poem came out of nowhere, and I feel like it just flowed right out of me when I was writing it, and so I'm really proud of that poem. Yeah. And maybe back when I do want to talk about insecurities, maybe back when I was a little more insecure in my past years, I wouldn't have had the balls to speak that onto a video. And so I'm proud that I have the courage to even read a poem out loud on a video I'm planning on posting on YouTube. So feeling courageous, I'm really grateful that I have the confidence to do that. And so speaking about insecurities, I know we all have them. Some people are better at faking through them. I know I'm a person who is pretty good at faking through my insecurities. People will not know when I'm feeling insecure. You will never know. I know how to put on the front. I know how to sling out the confidence, even though on the inside sometimes I'm feeling insecure. I've actually learned that it's much healthier in my relationships to express my insecurities instead of fake them and hide them, because then I look like an actual human. And I had to learn the hard way that I paint this perfect image that I'm confident all the time, and then people would put me up on a pedestal and say, oh, well, you're always confident. I can unload everything on you. And I realized that if I tell them that I'm not feeling confident in a moment, they'll ease up on me and be there for me. And so I had to let people in on my insecurities, and so I could be loved through them, as well as the way I was loving others through their insecurity and encouraging them to express their insecurities. I just wouldn't do it myself. So that was a tough lesson. But one of the biggest insecurities I can recall in my life that I do not have to this day is my face. So I believe I have a gorgeous body. I've never had insecurities about my body. I've always been a thinner girl. And then when I got into pole, I got super ripped, and now my muscles kind of maintain themselves after being so strong for so many years. And so my body's always it just is what it is. It's always good in my book. And I work at it, of course, but I was blessed with a very beautiful body. My face now is gorgeous. It's beautiful, but I was in a car accident when I was 5 years old, and it took off a whole chunk of my eyebrow. I actually do not own an eyebrow. I don't have an eyebrow on this left side of my face. And I was offered when I was 10 years old to by my parents, my adopted parents. They said I can either get it tattooed on, I can have hairs taken from the back of my neck and put in there, but they would possibly grow backwards. And then what was the third option? Or surgery. I don't even remember now. But anyways, I'm 10 years old. Imagine they're offering me these scary things. I was like, I don't want any of that. I'll just draw it on. And then I started drawing on it. I'm 10. I don't know how to do makeup. And I love my mom, but she was I have 4 brothers, so she didn't really know how to handle a girl. She didn't know how to teach me to be girly. She was a workhorse, and so she just stayed working all the time. And so I didn't really get a feminine attention or any lessons on how to be feminine. And so I just took a eyebrow pencil that they got me, and I was just drawing this straight line. And so I had a real eyebrow on this side, and then I'm drawing a straight line on this side. And, it looked awful, to be honest. So I would look at pictures of myself later on, and I'm like, why didn't anybody tell me? This is awful. I can't believe I look that bad. And then on top of that, this side of my face is very smooth, very feminine. It's very natural. And then this side of my face, due to all the scars, is very rough. It's very kind of manly. My nose is a little pointy because there's a scar on the tip of my nose. My eye was always really open, and this one's more closed. And so when I viewed myself in the mirror and I would try to draw my eyebrows, 17, 18, 19 years old, I would spend hours on my eyebrows. And I just realized I'm looking at myself in the camera here. I'm going to change that. So I love looking at myself now, but I want to look directly at you guys, so I apologize for that. I was drawing on my eyebrow for so many years, and my friends were so patient with me because I would spend hours drawing on my eyebrows, and then sometimes I couldn't do it. I would be so nauseous. I hated my face. I hated this portion of my face that I would, at the end of it, be like, I'm not even going anywhere. You guys go out without me. That's how insecure I was about my face. And so it was a problem in my life, and it was something that I had a very hard time conquering because it's my face. It's something I looked at every day in the mirror. I still to this day look in the mirror and see my scars. Now, I had to learn over time that it's just not what people see. And so I'm not going to go through all of them, but a few of the time stamps in my life that helped me with my insecurities, and thank goodness I'm open-minded enough to observe scenarios in my own best interest. So one time I dated this guy for like 2 weeks. It was a very quick, obviously 2 weeks. And we dated, we went on a few dates and we kissed a couple times. And so I know he had seen my face. We hadn't done much, but we were very much in each other's faces for those 2 weeks. And I went and played a soccer game. And I'm red-faced from my soccer game still, from running for 90 minutes, and I've sweat, my hair is sweaty, and I meet him for lunch, and I have my eyebrow drawn on, but he looks at me and he's like, "Whoa, do you have scars on your face?" And I was like, "Yeah, you have not seen the scars on my face?" And he said, "No, I've never even noticed those." And boom, it clicked in my head that if he has not noticed these scars, and he's been looking at me and enamored with me and looking dead at my face, kissing my face this close to me, and he didn't even notice I had scars. And I was amazed. I was like, okay, well, if he's not noticing, I'm the one that's noticing. And so that was one of the moments that stamped in my brain. Then when I was 19, I had a friend named Kim, and we went to the mall. We were going to the mall, and she had all this acne on her cheeks right here. She had all these pimples on her cheeks. And I was with her all day. And then we were in the car driving home, and she looks at me, she's like, "Oh God, I have all these pimples on my face." And I look over at her, and I see all the pimples on her face, and I immediately think to myself, whoa, I did not notice those all day. I didn't even look at her acne. Now, I'm a little more observant and present in my day now, so I feel like I would have noticed maybe some acne on her these days, but you get the point, right? It clicked in my head that if I'm not looking at the details of her face and I'm seeing her pure energy coming out of her, I love her, I don't really see the shell too much, I realized in my mind that that's possibly how people could see me. And so I was like, okay, well, maybe my scars aren't as noticeable as I think they are. So I wrote that down in my little data collecting book about how to love myself. And so that was another way that I convinced myself that. And then I've always been one to get better by at least 1% every day, hopefully, or every year, but hopefully every day. And so I'm always studying and reading books and trying to educate myself and be a better person. And it just clicked one day. I don't remember the book, but just one day I thought to myself, like, what am I doing? Why would I ever not like my own face? It's something I cannot change, and it's something that it doesn't matter. Like, it really doesn't matter. If people do not like me because of the scars on my face, then they could fuck off. And it was just that feeling of like, oh, I'm not going to let anybody look at me and think it's only me looking at me anyways and hating on myself. And so that was kind of that big epiphany, and I just dumped it. I dumped hating on my own face. And then later on in life, I got some corrective surgery. I smoothed out the scars. I smoothed out this scar on the tip of my nose, and then I got my eyebrows tatted on. And I remember getting bangs for the first time too. Really helped because I got to cover up, some of the eyebrows and the scars on my face. So that was a cool experience. And so that's how I learned to love my face. So that was one of my major insecurities in my lifetime. Another one was talking too much. So I am a talker. I am a convincer. I am one that, like, I would hop on a new product line and want to go convince the world about the way I felt and tell everybody that what I knew now was the new information that they needed to know. And I could just talk. I talked over people. I talked and talked. So then as I got older, I started to notice the response from people and how they would pull away when I start talking. And I started doing the self-observation work on, how I'm showing up in the world. I realized that I talk a lot. I realized that I'm trying to convince people that they need things that they probably don't even need. I realized that most of the information I learned and was trying to shove into people's faces wasn't even valid to this day. So I stopped those behaviors. It was a hard stop, though. It really was challenging for me to zip my mouth. I started duct taping my mouth when I would be around my close friends so that I could listen and practice listening and hearing what they had to say. And then I came across a person who I was kind of complaining explaining to like, hey, I'm feeling insecure. I've now, when I go out into the world, I think, oh my God, am I talking too much? Oh my God, did I talk too much to this person? And I actually developed an insecurity around the fact that I now knew that I talked too much. And so I was always thinking I'm over talking, and I would apologize and be like, oh my God, I'm sorry, did I talk too much? And I had a good friend of mine, actually my ex-boyfriend, thank you, ex-boyfriend, for teaching me this. He said, Becca, it's not that you talk too much. What you have to say is valuable, and you collect valuable information. You make it a practice to collect valuable information. And so the things that you're saying are great. And so it's good to talk a lot. You should be talking a lot because the things you have to say are valuable. However, you take over the conversation when other people are talking. And so it's not that I talked too much, it's that I wasn't letting other people also talk. And so that soothed my insecurity about myself, because instead of me having to halt something that felt so natural, something that felt like my authentic self, because I love to talk, I want to talk to everybody all the time, I could just talk all day. And so instead of halting that beauty of verbal vomit, instead it was more redirected to what actually needs to change, and that is being a better listener. And so now I focus more on making sure I set an intention, like before I go to a social event, saying like, okay, Rebecca, it's okay to talk, but make sure you ask at least 3 questions before you go on your rampage. Make sure that people want to hear what you have to say. Check in and clock in and listen to people before I rampage all the stuff that wants to come out of my mouth. And so that was a good lesson for me, and an insecurity soothed in my lifetime. And so I'm still a big talker. I still talk a lot. I've also got my friends trained. I trained my friends, my tribe, to correct me. So if I do take over the conversation out of an old habit, or if I'm not paying attention and I'm just talking and talking and talking, because I'm human, I'm flawed. So sometimes that's going to come out of me. They will calm me and soothe me and say, hey, Becca, I just want to be heard right now. And so I really appreciate their love. And now I don't feel as insecure, because I know I'm supported. I know that I can mess up and just be redirected back to who I truly want to be on this earth. And so I'm grateful for my friends for that. And so that's an insecurity soothed. Another insecurity, debt. So when I was in my late 20s, I was kind of insecure about the fact that I didn't have some of the nice things that my friends had. I was driving a little shitty car, even though I had a nice place to rent. I've always had a nice home, and I always put all my money that I made into my home. I think the home is where your heart is, and so I always make sure I have a nurtured home to come home to. And I was trying to see how I had great things, but a lot of my friends, especially in my era, was like the credit card era, and that's when all of my friends went into debt. But I wasn't thinking this way. I just noticed that they had boats and they had houses and they had cars, and I didn't, and I just felt like maybe I was a loser. But then what I was taught through a very dear friend of mine was like, do you even have any debt though? And I never put that into the equation. Yeah, I might not have had all the nice things, but guess what? I've had 0 debt my whole life. I don't have any debt. I'm debt free. Well, not so much like today. Today now I've accumulated a little debt, but on purpose for my new business. So I think I'm doing a good job, but still, it was a nice comfort, nice soothing to hear like, hey, you know what? Just because you don't have a boat doesn't mean you're failing at life. It's actually better, because most of the people I know that owned boats in that time frame were in debt, and they weren't actually happy that they even bought a boat. It was just a conditioned purchase or something like that. And so I think you guys, I'm not going to go too far into this one, but I think you guys understand that was an insecurity, something I held on to, something I kind of in the background always had on my mind, that maybe I wasn't good enough. And then I got soothed by knowing that there's another perspective. And so I'm really grateful for that, soothing that insecurity, and I'm not insecure about that anymore. And now I listen to books on the psychology of money, and I learn. I'm not a money budget girl, but I have a lot of support, and I'm grateful that the education is out there in order to learn how to make changes in that. So, and then I have one more. The last thing I want to tell a little story about is it's also about insecurities, but more about recognizing that maybe sometimes you might think you're insecure and you're not actually insecure. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but I'll just tell the story and then we can kind of go from there. So I've been a big network marketer. I love network marketing, and I want to host YouTube one day just on my thoughts about network marketing, because I think it's a genius business model and I think everybody should be doing it and supporting it. And I buy from as many friends as I can in network marketing because I want to support my friends' businesses. So I suggest you guys do it too. But I signed up with this one company a long time ago, and I was going over to their home and showing up for the meetings and showing up for the work. And every time I got in their presence, I felt insecure. I felt less. I felt not confident. I felt like I was, and so then I assumed I'm comparing myself to them, and I'm just not good enough. And why do I feel insecure every time I'm around them? And it was an awful feeling, and that feeling I ended up quitting because I didn't want to feel that way. And that's before I dubbed the fun or nothing phrase, but it's the same concept. So I wasn't having any fun. I was feeling awful every time I went around there. But before I understood what fun or nothing is, or what what I believe fun or nothing is, I was assuming that I wasn't good enough, and I was assuming that I was insecure, and I was assuming it was a lack of confidence. But many years later, I look back on that scene and I realized that it wasn't that I was not confident, and it wasn't that I was insecure. It was that I was in the wrong place. And you guys have heard me talk many times, if you're following my YouTube and my podcast, about your emotional guidance system. And so the feeling, the anxiousness I was getting every time I was going over there, how I now interpret that is that it was an emotional indicator that I was not in the right place. And so I do not consider that anymore, looking back on it, the way I felt me being not confident. I view it as I was being told by God, my heart, that this is not where you belong, and I'm going to give you the emotional indicators for you to make a change. And so I don't consider that, even though in the moment I thought I was insecure, I really don't think that I was insecure. Everywhere else in my life, I was 100% confident. With the business model, I was 100% confident. I made all the money back I put in the first month. There was zero reason for me to not feel confident. Do I want to be like the people who were coaching me? No, I didn't have respect for the way they were getting success. I don't want to be like them. So I don't feel like there was a comparison going on. I was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, or maybe it's the right time. Wrong place, right time. But I learned, it took me many years later to see that, but I did learn that I wasn't actually insecure. And so, just a few life lessons there, a few things that I had to grow through. And I'm really grateful for all of it. And so I feel like I'm a very confident woman nowadays. I do get imposter syndrome every now and then, but it's an easy battle to fight when I'm surrounded by so much love, and when I have my notebooks to write in, and when I can vomit it all out on a YouTube and let you guys know that I might have this fun, crazy Instagram looking life, but deep down I have battled just as many insecurities as the next person, and I'm always fighting for my own self. And so I really encourage everybody to create deep connections, because the thing that makes me the most confident are my deep connections. And whenever I am hosting a big event or diving into something that makes me uncomfortable, the first thought that soothes me that makes me more confident is knowing that I have the people in my life to support me, and knowing they're going to show up for me, and knowing that I can call on them, and knowing that the people are there. And so that's how I would soothe any insecurities moving forward in my life, because I'm going to purposely put myself in uncomfortable situations. And so I need my friends, I need my confidence, and I need all of you guys, and I'm really grateful. So that's my YouTube for today. I appreciate you guys listening. I hope you had a lot of fun listening to my stories, and I hope you learned some things. And I would also love to hear from you. So if you have any comments, or if you want to talk to me about your insecurities, please, I'm open for all of it. I love communicating about this stuff, and I love personal development. I also will take any advice from you guys. So if there's anything you guys want to teach me, or teach me, I'm open. Teach me everything. If there's any good books you guys want me to listen to on this particular subject or any subject, I'm super open. So I love you, and thank you for listening to the Fun or Nothing YouTube channel. I'm Rebecca White, and I will see you on the next one. Mwah! Bye.